All right, as we're still upstanding, let me call upon Selela Okoth to give us a word of prayer. Judging from the things I've heard that happened here, you all need Jesus. So let's start with a word of prayer.
Thank you. Let's bow for a word of prayer. Loving Father, we come before this morning. We want to thank you for the nation of Kenya, the wisdom and knowledge that...
Wewe kama mama, wito wako ni lipi kwa vijana ambao wanakusikiza hii leo? Asante. Thank you very, very much. Yes, over there. Asante sana. Wapi makofi. Asante sana. Pass over the microphone. Yes, and then...
These are changes in weather or environmental conditions that occur over long periods of time. And some of those are caused by the increases in temperatures. And for instance, when temperature increases, then what causes, for instance, rises in sea level, which can cause displacement of people who live along the coastlines. And one key one that I would like us to pay attention to is embracing circularity, embracing aspects of reducing recycling, so that you reduce the use of single-use plastics. Kenya is in a good place since there is a legislation that already bans single-use plastics. And also reusing. For instance, when you have other materials that you can reuse, instead of disposing, you can consider reusing them.
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Recommendations. And also embrace partnerships.
Yeah.
This gesture that the Council of Governors and the organizers of this conference have shown, that different stakeholders with the common mwananchi in a language that is understood.
Thank you so much. Kindly have living disability.
Thank you very much. My name is David Ogoro. I am happy to join you here. And climate change, it's a long-term change that happens in the world. And it normally affects the weather. Yeah. And how does it happen? It happens through personal, different things. Holding even an umbrella becomes a challenge for a person who has disability. So sometimes even the rise in tides makes people be displaced. So people with disability don't get this information very early in time. So if, example, for a person who is blind, it's very hard to displace them. So it is a very big challenge for people with disability. So we would add to urge governors here, let's have partnerships. And other people who are here, stakeholders, let us include people with disability in their planning for climate resilience. Please make this information very accessible, have trainings, have funds that enable people with disability to be trained about climate change. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause for him. Asante sana. Yes, over there. Kindly pass the microphone here. Start with your name. You don't have to come to the front. You can actually just speak from that place.
Thank you. My name is Hilary Serem. I'm the CCM member in charge of environment in Nandi. Climate change is characterized by extreme temperatures, as my colleague, former speaker, has noted, and some erratic conditions, erratic rainfalls, erratic droughts, and therefore you cannot actually predict when it comes to issues agricultural. You can no longer predict when to plant, when are you likely to receive the rains, and it poses a challenge therefore in terms of survival, economic activities, particularly agricultural. Now some of the interventions are policy level and tactical level at operational level. However, we can categorize them majorly into two, where we have mitigation and adaptations. You adapt, you live with it, and you provide funding to ensure that people are able to get to counteract the effects of climate changes. Mitigate, you try and maintain the original status of the places, particularly the wetlands, which in turn will ensure that we do have water resources is taken care of and we maintain our initial conditions. However, it is very difficult to maintain the initial conditions. It's prone to change because of activities that are happening in the world currently, and majorly we may have therefore to adapt. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. I saw another hand at the back there. Yes. I think I have a second microphone somewhere here. So just move it to the center, tafadhali. Yes, just start with your name and what you understand by climate change and what you think we can do to either mitigate or adapt. Raise your hand again. Yeah, yes.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Thank you very much. My name is Mark Kashanja from the Office of the Auditor General. And I think for us, climate change is of great importance. One of the things we're looking at is the accountability in the use of public funds set aside for climate change. For example, in the counties we have the climate fund. And the climate fund in our reports has demonstrated some bit of shortcomings in terms of how our counties are managing that fund. So I think there's need for it to be sanitized, or the need to ensure that those funds go to that particular purpose. Secondly is that we have a unit that now undertakes an environmental audit, and I think that environmental audit would be very key for our stakeholders, the donor community, in terms of where we have deficiencies and where we need support, and also for our counties, where do we need to change priorities? What do we need to, how are we adhering to the environmental laws that have been set in our country, and do we need to change or emulate new laws to ensure more effective implementation of climate change mitigations? So thank you very much.
So from the Auditor General's perspective, you've noticed that counties are not allocating the climate fund in the right place, or are they misusing it for other functions?
Yeah, the concern is that the funds are there. There's a climate fund, and one of the challenges from the reports, just without any specific, is that some counties have not had climate change regulations to operationalize that climate change fund. And then two, some counties have used that climate fund for other purposes, other climate. There is need for us to maybe refocus or maybe capacity build on the importance of ensuring that those funds that we have set aside for climate change actually go to climate change. And as Auditor General, we always point out wherever that does not happen.
Okay.
And the additional part is that we have now environmental audit, which now carries out environmental audit as a performance audit, just to show how effectively we are able to utilize those funds. Are they making the impact that we expect to make? Are we able, for example, waste management, are we seeing an improvement? Are we seeing changes? I think those reports will be very important. One, for the counties, the policy makers, the governments, and also for the donors in terms of gaps which we need to address and where we need support.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. A big round of applause for him. I know he's the Auditor General. You're all wondering he might focus on you, so you might clap louder so that he doesn't pick you out. Then he comes and audits you. So, show of hands, anybody else who has something to say on the climate action and climate change, what that means to you, and what you'd like to see the county do to intervene? I saw a hand somewhere here. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Over there. Start with your name.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Florine Kwamboka. I am the founder of Alpha Rise Network Ventures, where we support women, train women on empowerment and also on climate adaptable solutions. And I'm very happy to be in this session. So for me, climate change, let me start from back then. I wasn't born long time ago, but Kitambo, we would know that in January, there's no rain. In April, there's rain. In December, there's probably rain. But right now, we are not able to track when we have rain and when there's no rain. So for me, that is climate change caused by adverse weather conditions and what we've said, even human activities. So what are we looking forward to in terms of climate change? And as the Auditor General has said, maybe we need a lot of trainings to be done, and mostly to the undeserved communities, because there's not much that is being done. There's not much sensitization and awareness in matters climate change. So what I'm looking forward to is support to the small organizations that are down in the roots that are championing climate change, so that they can be able to train as much as possible to the people who are mostly affected, who are women and the youth, who are sometimes not even able to support themselves. So I'm looking at opportunities where we are able to train them, and not just train them, but give them solutions, and solutions that are relatable to what they are doing. Thank
Kwamboka,
you.
before you sit, are you aware of any intervention measures that are being put in place from where you come from?
I
Either
am
from the
ac-
county
uh-huh.
level, from FLOCA programs. Have you seen any? Are you aware of any?
For this session, I wouldn't want to say yes, but personally, there's
Yeah.
an intervention I'm putting in place
Okay.
whereby we are able to train women on briquette production, so that they are able to shift their focus from smoke in terms of charcoal, which will lead to deforestation, to a cleaner alternative.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kwamboka.
Thank you so much.
All
Trevor.
right. A big round of applause for her. You've noticed I'm doing this in reverse deliberately, because climate change affects all of us directly. So there's a tendency of the people in authority to speak down at the audience and the people who are listening. So today we are reversing that. You, as the people who are affected directly, are talking to the people in authority, so that when they come here, they speak about solutions that work for you, not for them. All right? And I know I'm becoming an activist, but let me show another show of hands here. Yes, over there, two of them. Let's hear that, and then I'll bring in the panelists in just a short while.
Okay, to the protocol observed, good morning. I'm also called Aaron Felix from Homa Bay County, representative of youth. So, Trevor, what I understand from climate change, it is the condition of the atmosphere. That is, when I was in class 3, I used to learn rainy day, cloudy day, windy day, and that is the fact. So it is something clear. Trevor, what I know, that in Kenya as a whole, we don't have people who are looking the climate change. Because nowadays, they only predict. There's a day that they say that today, from this month to the other month, there will be rainy day. Then if you look, Trevor, there is no any rain. So let us just work with the condition that is the fact. That is what I have.
Yeah, but Felix, before you sit, what kind of interventions would you like to see? Because we're talking about equity when it comes to local climate action. What sorts of intervention would you like to see? Whether it's national level or county level, what would you want them to do?
Okay, Trevor, let them just speak the fact. And they say the condition that is seen and being awarded for. You see, they cannot just come up with the fact, but there's no any clear information. That is what I have.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Felix.
Yes.
All right, there was another hand back there. Asante sana. As you tell us what you think climate change is, you also tell us what equity through local climate action would look like for you. How would you want to be included in this conversation, either at county level or national level? Yes, start with your name, please.
Good morning. My
Good
name
morning.
is Sharon Ogutu from Homa Bay County, and I'm a psychologist. My concern is, what do we do to these people who are affected by, what do we do to these people affected by floods? You know, after all this, they are psychologically affected, mentally, and some even contemplate suicide. So, as the government, what can we do to these people after maybe saving them from the flood afterwards? What can we do to them? So it's a concern to me as a therapist, and most of them end up with a lot of trauma from this against. Thank you.
Ogutu, before you sit, what does equity through climate action look like for you? What would you like to see done?
Okay, I can say let us act to support both the genders, including the children, the women, and the men, because they are affected equally, especially when you talk along the lakeside. You find that when they are affected by floods, all of them are either. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. A round of applause for her. Ogutu, yes, over here. Start with your name.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All protocols observed. I'm glad to be here today. I'm Molly Atieno, founder of Ecoregion Solutions Limited, where we do regenerative agriculture. And in line with this, we are trying to solve organic waste, which we know climate change is shift or change in weather over a long period of time. And one thing that causes this is greenhouse gas emissions to the atmosphere. How are we controlling the emission of these greenhouse gases? Number one, all our waste are being directed to the landfills. Them being directed to that place means that still at that particular area, the greenhouse gases are still going to the atmosphere. But how can we control it from our households, from our restaurants? So if we have an innovative way of doing this by converting this organic waste to a valuable resource, which will not now make it be transferred as greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, will enable us to mitigate climate change. So there is this farming technique called black soldier fly farming. The black soldier fly farming helps us to bioconvert organic waste, all solids, organic, to be organic fertilizer, to mean still the organic fertilizer can be used to regenerate our lands. So training more youths to adopt to this kind of farming will help them, number one, to have like a major source of income, and also to create more job opportunities to other youths. So I was just hunting like a platform where we can train more youths into sustainable ways in which they can control waste and also have income.
Okay.
Yes.
And Atieno, from where you come from, are you aware of any climate change committees at ward level?
Number one is the FLOCA. Last year we had this FLOCA session at Gala Resort, where most of the youths, they took like two youths per county from 14 counties. Homa Bay was included, Kisumu, Busia, Kakamega, but most of the youths there were complaining that not all of them have received the FLOCA fund. So at a ward level, if we can control how they get those funds to help them manage their innovative ways of controlling waste, or maybe something sustainable that will help us mitigate climate change, then it will be sustainable to all of us.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Atieno. A round of applause for Atieno. Yes, there was another hand that was up. We're still talking about how to deliver equity through local climate action, what that means to you, and the how part. How should the financing be structured? How should the conversation be done? By a show of hands, I think I saw someone else somewhere here in the middle. Raise your hand if you have something else to say. And then before we call and start this session officially, I'm giving you a chance, or forever hold your peace. Way forward, this is what we want to hear from you. From here now, so what should they do? What should the governors focus on? What should the national government focus on? Show of hands, let me see. Was something to add on to this conversation? Yes, back there. Way forward, way forward. What would you want those in authority to do to deal with climate change? And what does equity through local climate action look like for you?
All protocol observed. Lilian Musili. I'm a geologist from Kitui. Just from observations, I've observed that climate change issues and actions have left out issues on energy. And we know that energy is the main contributor to greenhouse gases. Especially in Kenya, we use fossil fuels, minerals like petroleum, we have coal use, but so much is, very little is being done on that part. We focus so much on environment, planting trees are going to absorb the carbon dioxide released by the vehicles and these cement factories. Thank you.
All right. What do you recommend going forward in terms of what would you like those in authority to do? In your own perspective?
Yeah, in my own perspective is incorporating those in the petroleum industry, those in the fossil fuels generally, and those also in the mining sector in this FLOCA thing, because they are main contributors, and also the adoption of the new technology that can capture the carbon issues.
Lillian, you said you're from Kitui, right?
Yes, I'm from
So from Kitui County, what interventions have you seen in terms of climate change action? And also, how involved are you as a person from Kitui? Do you have groups? Do you have women groups? Is it a climate change committee? Do you have meetings in the county assembly? What happens?
Yes, we have several interventions in Kitui. We have up to the ward climate change planning teams. And then we have projects that have been proposed in our planning. We have the construction of sand dams across our rivers. As you know, Kitui is an epicenter of sand harvesting. And over time, these rivers have been affected by the vice. So we've constructed sand dams alongside our streams and rivers to increase the retention of the sand and to also get water, because water is a livelihood, a major issue in Kitui. So when we have these sand dams, we have sand, and we also have the water
up with the National Treasury, the county offices on how FLOCA can be implemented in various counties that are not yet implementing the fund. So recently we had the National Youth Climate Innovation Summit that was held in Nairobi from 7th to 8th August, just various parts of Kenya gathering to deliberate on climate issues. And one of our key agendas in our call to action in the youth declaration that we created was a call to action on climate financing and technical support for the youth, and in this aspect, FLOCA. So we were calling for constitutional offices, that is the Office of the Auditor General, Controller of Budget, and National Assembly, to disseminate financing locally led action annual reports. So there are no annual reports about the performance of FLOCA. So we are calling on these institutions to disseminate these reports. And then our next call to action was to the World Bank and National Treasury to review FLOCA CSO engagement mechanism to meaningfully program around youth and dynamics as it relates to climate change. We also had a call to action on establishing a National Youth Green Research and Innovation Fund, and this is under FLOCA fund, and operationalize county climate change funds, which is not yet operationalized in many counties. So every time when I post about FLOCA on my social media, I don't miss to get like one or two people asking me, so what is FLOCA? So my call to counties is, when I was walking around, I saw Governor Malombe, for example. I saw Governor Sang welcoming us to Homa Bay. I think we can do the same about opportunities that are available in the county, so that we can make the public aware about these opportunities. So for me, equity when it comes to FLOCA means that various demographics, all the stakeholders get engaged, and the barriers that prevent them in accessing the funds are removed. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. A big round of applause for her. Recommendations is what we're taking. Yes. I think you raise your hand, then we'll come here.
Okay, riding on the previously established protocol, my name is Dr. Grace, Dr. Malombe's advisor on climate change from Kitui County. As we talk about FLOCA and the action from the ground up, I've been thinking there is something that we have been forgetting. When we look at our communities, we've been told by 2060, 50% of our population will be urbanized. And urban is the way that's going. And when we think about urbanization, we also have to think about our small towns. Mkiangalia, there's a lot of trash and waste in our urban areas. But even when we think about actions that need to be taken, our people don't seem to think about trash. You walk around and people be saying, takataka haija chukuliwa, we have a lot of waste. But then so what? I've not seen a proposal about, for instance, waste to manage, to energy, or converting the waste that we have in our small communities into energy, or cleaning our lived spaces to make them livable. So I think even as we engage the communities, we need to enlighten them on what is happening within their spaces or their lived spaces, so that they can start thinking broader, not just, when we talk about climate action, most people think about planting trees, but is that it? There is more than that. And also we need to engage all spaces, all ministries, everybody in the community, so that we have a holistic approach to community-led actions on climate change. Thank you very much.
All right, asante sana. A big round of applause for her. Yes, there's a hand over here. Yes, we're taking recommendations now.
Yes, all protocols observed. My name is Douglas Oruto Ogeo from Nyamira, and I have the following recommendations, which I feel, if they are implemented, they will assist us in handling that is climate change. One, FROCA being locally led, we have left actually our community behind. There is no public participation, actually, which was done in some counties. So, which means that the majority of our people, they don't understand what is FROCA. Number two, when they were constituting the world climate change committees, planning committees, you know, it was political interference. MCS, they saw it as an opportunity of giving their loyal people job. So, which means that if we governors, it's good we are here. We must make sure that actually this one, politics is out of this, so that we put the right people in these ward committees. That is when we can be able to achieve the result. Number three, like in Nyamira, what we are doing, we want actually to train green champions. That is by in every ward, like my organization, we have been able to mobilize 5 people in every ward. We train them on green skills, that is green economy, and then we can be able to tell them what are the opportunities, job opportunities, which are in the circular economy, so that that is when our youth, they can be able to embrace this process. Lastly, when the priorities of the projects which are being implemented in ward levels, sometimes some of these projects, they don't have impact, because FROCA, you are supposed actually to implement even few projects. You just get that, again, that is where political interference goes in. You just get that the governors, they want to please the MCS. So they just dish out projects which don't have actually the greatest impact. So the way forward, governors, let us even pick 2 or 3 projects which can cause a great impact, so that we can actually save our environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Douglas. Round of applause. Yes, asante sana. Yes. So you have to pass the microphone to him. Yes.
First, I want to thank my brother here for giving me the opportunity and the mic. Yes.
Okay.
So I want to thank you, my brother, for that comment, because I'm in that committee of FLOCA, and sometimes the big people in the government, they come and the projects they implement do not have any big impact, especially for person with disability. We have so many roadblocks there. For example, I would want to ask the governor, implement and have people with disability in those committees, so that they can help the challenge that people with disabilities have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very, very much. A big round of applause. There was one more comment somewhere here before we close this. Yes, recommendations going forward. Pass the microphone to him, and then I'll come to you finally.
I'm James Melly from Nandi. There is one aspect on human-wildlife conflict, which I feel like FLOCA also should address. Yesterday during the other presentations, one senator mentioned something on how can we deal with wildlife like monkeys, for example. Their environment has been interfered in such a way that they are now outside where they are supposed to be, and they are in our homes. Our food stuff, the agricultural crops are being destroyed by monkeys and other wildlife because of lack of food inside the forest. So I feel like we should also plant more fruit trees in the forest, in the escarpments, like where we are now. There are a number of hills around here. Why don't we plant fruit trees, including even wild bananas, even the real bananas, just for wild animals, including birds? So I feel like we need to address also their challenge so that their impact on food production should be reduced. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, James. All right, recommendations. There was a hand somewhere there. Yes, there's something you want to add? Before then, I give our dignitaries a chance to speak.
Thank you so much for another opportunity, and thank you, my brother from Nyamira County. We come from the same county. I'd like to reiterate on what he has said on political alignments, where opportunities are dished out depending on who you know, and to recommend that let us do a lot of capacity building. I don't feel that ideas should be coming from the governors going down. Instead, our ideas should be coming from us, innovators, to the governors, who should be able to address the issues by funding and capacity building. So let us have a lot of capacity building and also inclusive planning, whereby everyone is included, from the disabled to the youth and to the women, and not leaving out the men, because we also assume that the men have it together and we are leaving them out. So let us have inclusive planning and a lot of capacity building, because we are capable. We are capable, we have the potential, and we have enough education and skills to do this, to support the government.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That's exactly why I've given you all a chance to speak first before we bring our dignitaries. Any final recommendations? Show of hands. I can take just only 2 more. This is your final chance to give us your recommendations going forward. In 1, 2, 3. Do I see a hand? Okay, going once, going twice. This is your chance. In 1, 2, 3, yes. You have a very short moment before we welcome our dignitaries now. Just a quick statement, yes.
Thank you very much. My name is Faith Ngige from the Kenya Platform for Climate Governance. And I want to confirm that as civil society, we've been
Faith,
engaged.
hold on 1 second. Let us all be upstanding as we welcome our dignitaries who have come in, and a big round of applause for Honorable FCPA John Mbadi, Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning. Asante sana for making time. Thank you very, very much. Asante sana. Thank you very much. You may have your seats. You may have your seats. Faith, you're finishing on something. You may be seated.
Yes, thank you. All protocols observed. I was confirming that as civil society, we've been engaged in the FLOCA process, and FLOCA has proved to be a model that indeed is designed to get communities to be involved in designing the climate solutions, as well as in making decisions about the interventions that work for them. So my call or my recommendation is that we should scale up the finances, so that should this program come to a first phase of end, the interventions that have been realized by FLOCA should not end.
All right.
We should increase the investment in that particular pocket.
All right. Thank you so much, Faith. A big round of applause for yourselves for being the first ones to take a go. This is important so that you're the first ones to speak, and then those in authority can now speak after you. So without any further ado, I'd like to call upon Peter Oluoch Odengo, the program coordinator of FLOCA, to just give us the general overview of why we are here. I will give each and every one of them a maximum of 5 minutes to speak, and I'll be at the back. So I'll be walking there. The more you take time, the more my pace increases. By the time I start running, you should have finished your statement. 5 minutes each. A big round of applause for Peter Odengo as he comes up. Asante sana. You may take your microphone over there. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. His Excellencies, the governors, FCP, Minister for Cabinet Secretary for Finance and Economic Planning, Morada Kenodia from the World Bank TTL Task Team Leader, Priscilla Kenyari, Portfolio Manager, KFW, GIZ, the government of Germany, Philip Akello, representative of the Danish Embassy and the Danish government here in Nairobi, program manager, which the FLOCA falls under, the representative of FAO, Food for All, Amisi, Deputy County Representative, His Excellency Honorable Dr. Wilbur Otichilo, the Governor of Vihiga, all protocol observed, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Odhengo. I come from a small ward in Kisumu East called Kolua East. It is the ward where I was born, and it is the ward that identifies me, and that's why I am here. I am the program coordinator for financing locally led climate action based at the National Treasury Economic Planning. Ladies and gentlemen, today marks a very important time in your lifeline. Why are we here? We are here not to lament the impacts and the challenges of climate change today. We are here that we have something, however small, however big, which we have done as a community, as Kenyans, as the local people, to enable us respond to the impact of climate change in two ways. One, to enable the most vulnerable within a village, within a ward, to adapt to a warming earth at her own household. To enable that vulnerable person, child, women, leaders, to build their local resilience against climate change. We are here to ensure how policy and geopolitical landscape has helped us to move to where we are. We are here to take stock and to have a scorecard of what the National Treasury, the Ministries of Environment, Agriculture, Water, Irrigation, our development partners, led by none other than the World Bank. The Swedish Embassy, they are not here today. The Danish government, they are also not here today. The German Embassy, they are here today. The Danish Embassy, they are here today. How have they come to work with Kenya as a developing country, which is required under the Paris Agreement within our NDC and the United Nations Convention on Climate Change, to respond to climate change by two things: mitigating the impacts by reducing the impact. How are we engaging the community? How are we giving them the power? It is not me to say. The preachers say that Jesus or Muhammad had just to open the way, then the disciples have to take the cue, and then they move and they do what they want to do. So, as we are standing here today, 2,245 various projects is happening or is being implemented in 45 counties in 1,550 wards. As we are standing here today, Honorable Minister, all the 47 counties, including Nairobi and Mombasa, have done their Climate Change Act, a requirement which was supposed to be done in 2016, but it has never been done until FLOCA came into force in 2022. Today, we are here to celebrate the institutionalization of climate change units within the 47 counties. We are here to take stock on how FLOCA has given two things: money and decision in what they want to do it. We are here to be shown how the participatory climate risk assessments has made my grandmother the most vulnerable to say, I need water, I need ecosystem, I need this business, I want to reduce this emission using clean energy. Minister, today is not our day. Today is the people's day. The development partners are here. We have already heard from a number of teams. The youth have spoken that they may not be aware, but the youth have also said that they had a summit in which they said Floka should establish a green fund for the youth, independent youth. They said, and the youth are very happy, and they are requesting you that give us the power to establish that, the youth, so that the Gen Zs cannot dance, so that the Gen Zs can now start doing business with Floka. So,
right. Thank you.
Youth, we are with you. We have heard you. They are here. The governors are here. They will respond to you.
All right.
Thank you very much, and please feel welcome, feel the pioneering program, but you have to know you are the best in Africa and in the world, and everybody, every day, counties are coming to benchmark with you. Please clap for yourself.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana. A big round of applause for Peter Odengo. He's the program coordinator, Floka. Asante sana. Without any further ado, let me call upon Murada Kinuthia, the Senior Social Development Specialist, World Bank, and Team Task Leader, Floka, to give a speech on reflections from key partners on the importance of climate finance, decentralization, and collaborative adaptation. A big round of applause for him. You only have 4 minutes, 25 seconds.
Thank you very much. I'm not giving a keynote speech. As Peter has said, today is our day also to listen. And Bwana Waziri, I have really enjoyed the 2 Floka events we've had yesterday and today. And like other events that we've had, this has started with us listening to the audience. And I think, Bwana Governor, maybe for the next Devolution conference, we should try and have as many sessions where we first start by listening. And I really want to thank you. You have sat patiently listening, and even yesterday, I know in the other session that we were, and I hope you found it useful. Most of us already know what Floka is. If I could speak to some of the, let me wait for Yogo to finish that, Bwana Waziri can hear the good things that this project has done. When Floka started, less than 10 counties could meet the conditions of the program. We had pilots in 5 counties. Very few counties had county climate change funds. Very few counties had county climate change acts, and that were already implementing this. As we speak today, all 47 counties, including Nairobi and Mombasa, have got county climate change acts, have got their county climate change funds. And over and above this, for sustainability, I know we'll talk about the resources that come from development partners, but counties have contributed 7.94 billion. Karibu, Governor.
Let's all be upstanding for our host, Governor Tafadhali. She might decide to kick all of you out here. Asante sana. A big round of applause for Excellency Gladys Wanga, the Governor for Homa Bay County. Asante ni sana. You may be seated. It's also the only exercise we get to do for the day.
Karibu, Governor. Let me welcome you to Homa Bay. So I was saying, for sustainability, all the counties have contributed 7.94 billion Kenya shillings, making counties one of the biggest funders to Floka. As we speak right now, we have got 2,245. In fact, there will be more, because this was as of June. 2,245 projects across 1,137 wards in Kenya. We only have about 1,450 wards. Peter, usisumbue my audience. We only have about 1,450 wards in Kenya, 1,137 wards. I'm told here in Homa Bay, Governor Wanga, that you have a project in every single ward of Homa Bay. When we did the math in June, Floka has reached 1.37 million people with just the first year of investments. Remember, we have got 3 cycles. With just this first year cycle, we have reached 1.37 million people. 572 projects are in the water sector. having reached 511,286 people. And this was in the space of about 6 months because, governors, as you'll remember, there were delays in reaching this. The other big success that FLOCA has had is crowding in extra resources. When we started, we had $150 million from the World Bank. We then got extra funding from the Danish Embassy, Sweden, and the Dutch. And for people in this region, you will know we have got extra funding from KFW, represented here by Priscilla. And I know that that funding is likely to grow. But also, speaking to ministers, one of the biggest challenges that we have in FLOCA,
1 minute to
as
go.
you will know, is the funds flow. As we speak,
we were with him here on Monday. On Wednesday, we were with him here on Monday. On Wednesday, and yesterday we had an impromptu visit to the FLOCA projects in one of our counties. And I think if he was here himself, he would have really appreciated to give some of the reflections he got engaging with the ward level committees. And I must say, as part of what he asked me to deliver today, that visit was one of the most appreciated visit he has had, even with his time here in this country, because of course it's one visit where we did not have any dignitaries, politicians. He went straight to the local level actions. And with that, a lot of engagement went on. And we continue to engage as a German corporation in Kenya. As you've heard, the co-financing that has come under the FLOCA with bias to the Western agroecological zones was basically to enhance improving agricultural productivity, and with a niche of being able to create jobs for the youth within the FLOCA framework. So even with this engagement, and I'm happy once again when we had the engagement with the climate actors before this session, the reflections that came in, I see squarely fit with the support that is coming in. And even as we are talking about targeting support, especially for the youth, the opportunity is there. Maybe, as we are saying, the information needs to get to the right place, and we could already hear the youth have the way forward on how they can be actively engaged.
1
so
minute.
as we continue with the engagement in the program, we as the German corporation, we are keen on, of course, seeing the numbers, because the numbers are what will be accountable to the climate actors to be able to see what the money is doing for them. And even as my colleague from the World Bank has mentioned, the issue of the release of the funds to the counties is of concern, but we expect that the Kenyan government continues to address this issue as part of the ongoing discussions on enhancing Kenyans' ODA's absorption capacities. And then lastly, the speech was very brief. It is the German government's assurance for continued engagement in terms of building the resilience of communities, of course with different actors, actions in different sectors, but most so for the sake of the FLOCA project and beyond, we expect to receive even more greater news in terms of the accountability of the funds, and even for the actions to be able to make sure at the end of the day, the stories, the climate change stories, will get to each one of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause for Priscilla.
For an excellent job that has been done. I think FLOCA has achieved a lot within a very short time. A lot of emphasis on institutional strengthening, and then now we are implementing projects. And I think we are seeing some good outcomes. So I think it is something we want to really thank the government of Kenya for. I think for Denmark, our ambition is always just to put finances where it is needed, to align our development funding, important program for us to implement. Yeah, let me just also finish by saying for climate action. Let me say that the current Danish government was actually elected on the platform of climate change or sustainability. And so the government has been very key, to work around matters on climate change moving forward. So I think it's that support, that continued collaboration, we'll continue to have it, and we look forward to even the next phase for FLOCA. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Philip. A big round of applause for Philip Akelo, Program Manager, Danish Embassy. Thank you very much. We'd also like to recognize the presence of Professor Hilary Barchok, the Governor for Bomet, who has just walked in. Asante Sana. And now it is my singular honor to welcome Honorable FCPA John Badi, the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning. A big round of applause for him as he goes up to give us the keynote address just 10 minutes before we start the panel discussion. Thank you, sir.
Trevor was supposed to ask you how many minutes and how many seconds.
I gave you 10 because you're from Treasury.
Thank you. The Governor, Homa Bay County, Gladys Wanga, other governors present, Professor Bachok, my friend Sang from Nandi, and of course Tichilo, my former colleague and friend from Vega, development partners, my PS, in charge of economic planning. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I will make some very quick remarks because I know my team has spoken a lot, beginning with Odengo. Odengo is so passionate about climate change issues, and so I'm very sure. Actually, this program, I call it Peter's program. He runs it almost single-handedly at times. But he has a number of times asked me for intervention, which I think I've done maybe to his satisfaction or not. He's not around to confirm. So this year's Devolution Conference calls us to put equity, inclusion, and social justice at the heart of governance. Climate action is actually a justice issue. The communities least responsible for emissions often carry the greatest burden of droughts, floods, and degraded livelihoods. Today, we showcase how Kenya is answering that call by placing climate finance and decision-making where justice demands, that is at the local level. FLOCA is Kenya's first national-scale model of devolved climate finance, supported by our development partners, which include the World Bank, our partners from Germany, and she has spoken here on behalf of the ambassador, Sweden, Netherlands, and Denmark. Of course, Denmark has already been represented also, and reinforced by domestic contributions, including county governments, have significantly contributed towards the support of FLOCA activities. Its design shifts power and resources to counties through performance-based transfers while building the systems that make local leadership durable. Climate-informed budgeting, safeguards and transparent reporting is very key and vital. What distinguishes FLOCA is not only the scale of the investment, but how decisions are made. Communities lead through participatory climate risk assessments. Counties institutionalize county climate change units and ward climate change planning committees, and allocations are earned through measurable progress. This is community-led adaptation operationalized, turning proximity, local knowledge, and accountability into better outcomes. Across our counties, FLOCA is turning risk into resilience at scale. The program has empowered, as has been spoken to here, all 47 counties to enact County Climate Change Fund Acts, unlocking over 7.94 billion shillings in county allocations for community prioritized investments in water, agriculture, and environmental restoration as a first tranche of county climate resilience investment grants for the year 2023-2024. Through these efforts, over 636 climate resilience projects have been completed, with 578 ongoing, directly benefiting over 1.2 million Kenyans and creating more than 73,257 jobs, including for youth, women, and marginalized groups. FLOCA's focus on climate-smart agriculture has restored 27,640 hectares of land and provided technical training to farmers. This is equity in motion. In July, the National Treasury disbursed a further 6.797 billion to 42 counties as the second tranche of county climate resilience investment grants for the financial year 2024-25. Thanks to the FLOCA program, we are bringing practical climate solutions, that is water security, rangeland restoration, flood control works, climate smart agriculture, clean energy, closer to households that need them most. And these are not just statistics. We are receiving stories of impact from the community members as they describe the life-changing nature of the county investments. In Makueni County, for example, Elima Ward, the community proposed a sand dam that now feeds 100,000 cubic liters, 100,000 liters reservoir, serving more than 8,700 people. Kitchen gardens full of leafy vegetables and fruit trees now thrive where drought once ruled. In the same county, a solar-powered reverse osmosis plant in Mukaange Ward provides clean water to over 1,480 people across 8 villages. In Kisumu County, after years of destruction along the Mahenya River, communities prioritize embankments and desiltation. Today, approximately 4,000 acres have been reclaimed, with more than 6,000 people benefiting from a land they once fled. Polo Nyango, a farmer, has for the first time in 5 years harvested cassava, maize, millet, and beans from his farm. In Shantoli, Mandera County, the Daua River once brought destruction with every rainy season, washing away homes, flooding farms, and forcing families to flee. However, today, the floods no longer control the lives of the people thanks to a 300-meter, 4-layer gabion wall fortified with dikes. I could keep on going with stories of resilience that are emanating from our counties. The program already attaining a coverage reach of, as has been mentioned, 1,137 wards across the country. And of course, in this very county of Homa Bay, all the 40 wards have FLOCA programs going on in partnership with the county government. And I will tell you that there are success stories in this county. Already, my brother has already spoken to the tree planting and all that, but there is a massive project in the constituency I come from called Sindo. I'm sure everyone must be proud of that project, and I'm equally very proud. These stories are the shape of a national model that centers women, youth, and smallholders and builds institutions that last. So, ladies and gentlemen, FLOCA is not a standalone initiative. It is a core enabler of Kenya's public finance strategy for climate action. The program strengthens public finance management by mainstreaming county climate change funds within county PFM routines, aligning climate investments with county plans, and reinforcing fiduciary discipline through performance-linked disbursements and verifiable reporting. A number of times I've gone to counties where things have not gone right, and we have corrected them. It's not that you have done something so massively bad, but we just want to make sure that we comply with the requirements of FLOCA. It advances green budgeting by supporting climate expenditure, tagging and capacity to track and report climate spending, laying the groundwork to integrate climate priorities into the medium-term expenditure framework and annual budget cycles. Implementation feedback is informing proposed PFM Act amendments to codify climate finance tagging and to clarify transparency in county climate expenditure. We are also working with counties to harmonize county climate change acts with the national framework to ensure consistent fiduciary rules and safeguard standards. To sustain local climate action beyond the life of the program, we are building a diversified financing ecosystem that outlives grand circles and anchors resilience in public system, because we know one time the funds will dry. The donors who are supporting cannot support us forever. So we must embed and have a system that will ensure prosperity of these programs. This includes laying the groundwork for green bonds and other climate-linked instruments, supported by the robust pipelines, safeguards, and reporting standards that FLOCA has helped to institutionalize. We are also developing results-based climate finance windows that pay for verified adaptation outcomes, and in doing so, mobilize both concessional resources and private capital. And because permanence matters, we are entrenching county climate change funds as standing county vehicles capable of receiving domestic allocations, partner contributions, and international climate finance through a single harmonized structure. To our development partners, we are deeply grateful for your steadfast support, for both financial, technical, and even strategic, in helping counties turn climate ambition into tangible results. As the global conversation on climate justice intensifies, particularly across the global south that bears the brunt of climate impacts, we welcome even deeper collaboration. Expanding outcome-based financing, co-creating green and blended instruments, and building investable county pipelines that crowd in private capital. Your partnership has helped prove that developed systems can deliver equitable resilience. Together, we can scale this model, share lessons across regions, and mobilize new resources to communities most at risk are the first to benefit. Finally, devolution gave us the tools to center dignity and fairness across Kenya. FLOCA proves that when communities lead and public systems listen, justice is not an aspiration, it is a budget line, a pipeline, a job, a harvest, and a glass of clean water. Let us scale what works, word by word, county by county, so that Kenya meets its climate goals. Locally led, nationally enabled, and globally credible. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Asante sana. Big round of applause for Honorable FCPA John Badi, Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning. Asante sana. And that was bang on time. Thank you very much. We want to recognize the presence of the host Member of Parliament, Honorable Peter Kaluma. Thank you for coming. We appreciate also Youth Leader Shalin Ruto is here with us. Thank you very much for making time. Now, I'd like to all ask you to give me your attention to the screen at the front. We are going to play a very short documentary. As we're doing that, I'd kindly request my ushers to bring in the seats so that we have a conversation with the panelists in a short while, just 30 minutes conversation, panel discussion, then I'll open the floor for discussion. But for now, let's play a documentary for the people on the ground, hear what their thoughts are when it comes to dealing with climate change. This is the documentary I'm talking about. Your attention to the screen at the front as we spread out the seats for our panelists.
Hatukuwa na maji, mali tunatoa maji ni 4 kilomita away. Wengi wetu tumepata miscarriage, nilikuwa natumikia muda mrefu kwenda mtoni, na malizia hapo muda wangu. Saa kufanya kazi sina. Tena nilikuwa naumia. Kifua, mgongo.
We have a water deficit of nearly 40,000 cubic meters per day in Makwani. The food is scarce. A lot of it is rain-fed agriculture. Even the food they are eating is not balanced, so there's a lot of malnutrition. So FLOCA came in like a miracle because it's an all-encompassing project.
We coined FLOCA to respond to the local challenges that we are seeing. It is upon that background that is called Financing Locally Led Climate Action, short name FLOCA, meaning that whatever to be financed should come from the people themselves. The design of FLOCA is to bring in these international development partners or donors to bring in resources. Then we have what we call a climate change fund. This fund is now where now the FLOCA program money is put into this pot. Now that money is now taken to devolve system in the counties. And these investment programs are in 4 key categories: water, climate smart agriculture, disaster risk management, then restoration of degraded environment, and then there is a 5th component of emerging issues, for example, clean renewable energies within the household.
Kingokaiti en program nebo FLOCA ko kikitach en eunek oeng ak ketebote ko grupit ak kele kilyonen kisikyin ano ile kiboen tuguchu.
En tare yon kesoben ng'alekab injirenik. Nebo oeng ko kerichek kora ng'alekab injirenik en lagok moome togote, ot en biik cheechen ko moome togote kabisa. Nebo oeng kora amoche olenjon ng'alechu eb injirenik ko kokoik kotoretech en ng'alekab school fees. Kioldoi kesomesanen lagokyok.
This sort of drive was done last year around July. I remember that time the weather was very harsh. It was very cold. Drying coffee became a challenge. It would take up to 3 weeks to dry, but with this solar dryer, it takes just about 4 days. With the solar dryer, we have got what we call uniform drying. The quality improved. Yeah, even the payment farmers improved also.
The problems that has always existed in Nyando has been from floods. We decided during public participation that floods was one of the problems that we had to do away with. Being the source of one of the rivers, which is Nyaido, that gets floods and affects our people down there within the same ward. We had now to decide on the alienation of the River Nyaido. Then we gave out the request. We decided to take certain actions. You find it rains, we do not do the water collection. So we decided at least to have certain collection points. There are certain areas that it runs off the shore and it erodes those areas. These trees were planted and it has stopped the valley that was upcoming there.
In 2023-2024, we received 162.5 million shillings as a first tranche of the FLOCA investment program funds. Water was a key area. So most of the programs that were chosen by most of the committees are water-based programs. Apart from that, we have done projects on conservation.
Boiboiyet neo mising en beek chekokenyoru en kurgat ireu kimoche kebai tuga ak kebai nego ak kemin logoek ak kebai kit age tugul nebo nesobe. Mokesore beek en elelu.
We've connected more than 300 households, serving more than 500 people.
Wakati FLOCA imekuja kutuletea maji, ikabidi tuongeze kulima wetu na idadi la shamba kutoka eka 8 tumeweza kuongeza hekari zingine 22. Tumeweza kuuza idadi ya shilingi kama shilingi 1486 katika season ambayo imeweza kupita. Huu ni mpangilio mzuri ambayo FLOCA ameweza kutusaidia, ambayo inua jamii yetu, pia nutrition value ya mboga ambazo tunapanda hapa, pia mambo na maradhi madogo madogo ambayo ilikuwa inasumbua watu wetu haitakuwepo tena.
Tulikuwa tuna ungumu wa kupata maji ya kunywa, lakini kwa wakati huu hiyo shida imeisha. Mradi wenyewe uko hapa sasa na umetupea maji ya kutosha na maji safi.
I see a commercial venture in it, forming a company that can sell bottled water.
Tunatambua hii mradi kama ni mradi yetu, sio ya FLOCA na si county government. Kwa hivyo sustainability ya hii mradi, sisi tunasema hii mradi itadumu kwa sababu ni yetu. Sisi ndio itatusaidia kwa wingi kama jamii.
We've got 100 households that were connected to this system. Every household has a meter. So from these meters, every household will be charged to do maintenance and sustainability of the project.
FLOCA wametufanyia kazi kubwa sana. Hii shamba ni 20 acres, wamepiga electric fence, generatiwa na solar panel. Wameweza kutujengea hii commercial hay store kubwa. Tunatarajia kupanua hii shamba. Pia tuongeze nyasi zaidi na pia sisi wenyewe pia tuwe na feedlot. Tunaonesha mifugo tupeleke Isiolo ifinishiwe huko ndio iweze kuingia kwa ile abatua, ndio iweze kwenda soko ya kule nje.
Tunashukuru FLOCA.
Wagwero kama ndio FLOCA kachel koda county marwa. Ngolea na mwa korang na bagongoi slogan.
Big round of applause. They're the voice of the people from the ground. Asanteni sana. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to have a panel discussion. I will be sitting in the audience so that all our panelists address all of us from this direction. And let me call upon His Excellency Dr. Wilbur Otichilo, Governor for Vihiga and Chair, COG Committee on Environment and Climate Change, to walk up to the podium. Tafadhali, a big round of applause for him as he goes up. Take the first seat. There's a microphone right where you're sitting. Asante sana, Governor. We'll give you a chance for opening remarks. Her Excellency Honorable Gladys Wanga, Governor for Homa Bay, will be back in a short while. She's also expected to be on the panel. She's just stepping out, but she'll be back shortly. As soon as she comes in, we'll rope her into the conversation. His Excellency Stephen Sang, the governor for Nandi. A big round of applause for him as he goes up. Kindly take the next seat. And there's a microphone right where you're going to sit over there. And then we have His Excellency Professor Hilary Barchok, the governor for Bomet. A big round of applause for him as he goes up as well. Take the seat right next. And we also have Mr. Hamisi Williams, Assistant FAO representative for Kenya. A big round of applause for him as he goes up. Take the seat right next to the governors. And we'll spare the next seat for Excellency Honorable Gladys Wang. As soon as she comes in, we'll rope her into this conversation. But Governor Tichil, I'll start with you on this to make opening remarks, being the Council of Governors Committee on Environment and Climate Change. Before we delve into the how and explore lessons from county implementation, policy shifts, and co-financing opportunities. There's a microphone where you are. Just make opening remarks, briefly, just 2 minutes, sir.
Thank you for this opportunity. First, on behalf of the Council of Governors, I want to take this opportunity to most sincerely thank Treasury through CS for the commendable work CS you are doing as regards to FLOCA. And as you have seen from the evidence, FLOCA is transforming our counties. FLOCA is making a change that has never been seen before in our counties. So I want to thank Treasury for your very enthusiastic team that is doing a commendable job. I also want to thank all the counties for what they have been able to do in a very short time. We have been able to have all the counties enact Climate Change Act and policies and regulations. This is actually a milestone. And therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to request on behalf of Council of Governors, I think I would like to hear, I would like to CS to listen. Kaluma, I think I want the CS to listen. CS, in just 3 years, all the 47 counties have been able to enact the laws, the climate change law. They have been able to enact the policy. They have been able to enact the regulations, and more importantly, they have been able to establish climate change funds. So every county has a fund, and this fund is contributing directly to FLOCA. What we would like to request as Council of Governors, me being the chair of the Committee on Environment, Forestry, and Climate Change, is that the Climate Change Act of 2016, now amended in 2023, clearly stated that we should have a national climate change council and then have a national climate change fund. To date, no national climate change fund has been established. And this is very, very crucial that we must have that fund established so that at the national level, the cross-cutting projects that cross-cut, that have a national interest, should be able to be funded through that fund. Equally, the counties should be able to access money. The parliament, according to the Climate Change Act, the parliament should appropriate money every year to put to that fund, and that fund now should be available through regulation on how to access that money from the counties and from cross-cutting projects.
All right.
So I think that's an issue the CS you need to look at. The president should constitute the National Climate Change Council, where he is the chairman. My second request, you have seen FLOCA is doing well, and everybody is happy. And FLOCA, as Odeng has said, is a model project in the whole world. There's no country in the world that has this model of climate change project. Therefore, we need this project to continue.
Okay.
And for it to continue, the counties have already guaranteed will continue on our budgetary process to contribute money towards it.
All right.
But through the development partners, and particularly World Bank, initially when we negotiated this project, World Bank was to contribute $300 million. They have only contributed 150. I would like your ministry to now engage the World Bank through the Council of Governors so that we negotiate for the remaining 150. This will guarantee us to continue for another 5 years.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pass the microphone kindly to Governor Sang. Governor Sang, you know, the word equity is central to our theme today. It's more than just distributing the resources. It's more about fairness and justice. What have you done as a governor in your own county to embody this principle of equity when it comes to dealing with climate change?
Thank you very much, Trevor. I think, one, our colleague has shared our position and our sentiments as Council of Governors, which we agree with. Secondly, this FLOCA program has done tremendous work to find communities and local leaders and local community discussing issues that were, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, discussing mitigation, adaptation, climate change were foreign issues. Today, you have committees in every ward across the 1,400 wards across the country having the capacity and the knowledge to discuss this. So I think this is a wonderful program and we should be able to support. Secondly, in terms of equity, how have we handled it as a county government? For us, we have the 30 wards in our county, we have the county steering committee, and we have the ward planning committees. What we have done is to ensure that all these resources, when we have our basket as a county, the resources are shared equitably into the 30 wards, based on the size of the ward, based on the population, based on many other dynamics that we have, developed as a county, in accordance with the law that we developed and enacted as a county. So the resources are ring-fenced to every ward. Then every ward has a committee that has been, whose capacity has been built, they have been trained, they have been supported, and they are able to identify the projects and the programs to be implemented. Third is that not just the resources, and I know this program has looked, and the video here has looked at the impact of FLOCA, but there is the other unintended impact that has come out of this. For example, in our county, we ran ward development program. Previously, matters of climate change were never captured. When you tell people go and work and identify programs for yourselves, they would look at things that, on agriculture and others that did not matter around climate. I can tell you today, beyond the resources that we are deploying under FLOCA, even the remaining, you are already we are increasingly seeing our communities putting more resources to climate-sensitive programming, courtesy of the training that we got from FLOCA. So basically, I can tell you today, the entire budget by the county is being distributed and disbursed in a climate, change-sensitive manner, courtesy of the training and the, capacity building that we have gotten out of this program. Okay. So beyond the successes that we have seen under the program directly, there are many unintended benefits, courtesy of that training and the capacity that has been built.
Thank you, Sang. Let me bring in Professor Barchok on this. The term FLOCA itself means financing locally led. The term is locally led. How have you ensured that in Bomet, there are interventions there that ensures there's equity for the people of Bomet, especially when it comes to climate action?
Thank you very much, Trevor. And first of all, I want to appreciate what this program has been able to do for us as Bomet and as a country. And we really appreciate the support that has come from the World Bank and all our partners. From the evidence that has been presented to us, I think there is a lot that this program has been able to do within our communities. In Bomet, one, the issue of ensuring that everybody is involved and there is equity. As Governor Sang has indicated, we have committees all the way from the ward level to the steering committee that we have within the county level. In these committees, everybody has been given a voice. So we have women represented, persons with disabilities represented, and all the other groups that we would imagine that they would be disadvantaged, so that their voice can also be heard. From the video that has been played, one thing that I want to appreciate is the ownership. Because for us to be able to sustain and have these programs running even after the stoppage of support that is coming from our donors, there should be ownership within the community. And probably that is why we are talking of locally led climate resilience actions. So the suggestion for the programs and the projects that we are running actually come from the community. We are also tapping into the innovations that we have from the communities, because many a times we want to imagine that you only find innovations within universities and within Nairobi or within our respective headquarters. But I think there is a lot of talent, there is a lot of innovation, there is a lot that we can learn from what our communities are doing, because agriculture, for example, is not new to us. There are things that we have been practicing, but probably those practices, good practices, have not been documented. And this program has given us an opportunity as government, as county governments, to tap into those capacities that we have within our communities. And we have given a lot of space for our people to talk to us, and we carry on and do things as we move along with them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Before I bring in Hamisi on this, let me request Roy Otieno, the Director of Climate Change, Homa Bay, to join the panel. Tafadhali. Her Excellency Gladys Wanga is going to receive the guests who are coming in for the closing session. So Roy Otieno, if you're here, Director, Climate Change from Homa Bay, kindly join the panel. Asante sana. But for now, let me engage Mr. Hamisi. Hamisi, FAO as a global institution is leading in these efforts to achieve SDG 2 or zero hunger. How does the FLOCA program build onto your mission, and what do you see as the possible challenges? Hamisi.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Trevor, for that. Let me first actually bring something into perspective. From the global point, we look at it in a way, if you are a Kenyan, you should be proud of FLOCA. And why I'm saying that is, if what M-Pesa is to the commercial financial sector, which Kenya took to the world, that is FLOCA, what FLOCA is to the climate change sector that Kenya is also taking to the world. And if there are people that are now globally looking into how do we involve the locals into decisions that affect them, FLOCA has done that. And having said that, I wanted to also just take a quick look into what we are discussing today, which is called climate change. And I wouldn't want us to lose that, because I see a trend where we are starting to discuss climate change with some level of normality. It is not. Recently, the UN Secretary General said that the era of global warming is over. The era of global boiling is where we are now. The airs are unbreathable, the temperatures are unbearable, and therefore we should act now, not tomorrow. And that is what also President Obama said, and that's where I will also want us to see the sense of agency, that the climate change is here with us, and we could be the only generation that has still some little time left to do something about it. And we need to do that now. And with those, we like that we see programs like FLOCA that are taking those actions right on the ground where the rubber meets the road. Now let me come to your question, which is what FAO is looking at and how we blend in to the FLOCA program. You know, if you listen to the 4 areas of FLOCA, water, climate, smart agriculture, all that we meet in one thing, food. And that's we are food and agriculture organization. We just want to make sure that everyone has enough on their table. And that's where we meet. But how do we practically do this work? You know, at the global level, FAO looks at a lot of global advocacy on matters climate change. We've also been able to be at the forefront on mobilization of resources, about $1 billion that FAO has been able to put on matters climate change. And then apart from that, supporting governments on the areas of policies, the laws and the regulations that are also globally acceptable. This is also a forte that FAO has been doing. And I laud the work that we've also been doing with the National Treasury. FAO here in Kenya was the first one, again, globally, that benefited from the GCF NAP Readiness Fund to support this country, which opened the route for us to develop what we are calling a bankable project that is now the 50 million GCF fund that has come to the Lake Region Economic Bloc in all the 14 counties here. And in that particular fund, Trevor, we are actually leveraging $14 million from FLOCA funding. And we are going, therefore, to work together with the FLOCA going forward. In our strategic framework, we look at 4 things. Having agri-food systems that is resilient, that is adaptable, that is also sustainable, but making sure that is adapted to climate change. So this is how we combine forces together and working together with the FLOCA right here at the local level.
All right. Thank you so much. Roy, let me bring in on this. Homa Bay faces specific challenges, especially related to Lake Victoria's ecosystem. How have you ensured that climate adaptation measures, for instance, in the blue economy, directly empowers the marginalized groups like women and youth?
Thank you, Trevor. From our climate resilience, climate risk assessment that was conducted 2 years ago, one of the issues identified to be most affecting people in Homa Bay County were issues around food insecurity, issues to do with the rising lake levels that has constantly been displacing people along the lake and also encroaching into productive farmlands. Now, as a county government, the response has been cross-sectoral. That is, it has been done in such a manner that these responses are reflected in our county integrated development plan, which is a 5-year development plan that we as a county government put in place to guide us in responding to issues, amongst them climate change. Now, specific to the negative impacts that the rising water levels have been affecting our people with, we, through our climate change action plan, we put measures to ensure that the lake shores are protected from encroachment first, and secondly, we also came up with an innovative idea to inform our people in advance of the negative impacts of climate change. That is, we established a climate information center. And one of the functions of that center is to push messages and warnings to our people of impending rainfall that is above normal, that would, in the end, cause flooding along the lakes, so that these people move away. And the other intervention that we've made is that we've realized that the lake also has been a source of disaster for our people, especially the fishermen who are using the lake for their life. So the center also broadcasts and sends information to these fishermen to warn them in advance if there is an impending storm, so that they do not go into those areas that the storm is likely to pass through. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now let me turn back to Governor Tichilo in just 2 minutes each, and all of you, the panel there, and let's talk about policy and financing. What is the one thing you'd like to see change? I heard you speaking to CS Treasury earlier on, but what is that one thing you'd want to change when it comes to policy and financing to make climate action interventions more effective at county level? Governor Tichilo.
Thank you for that question. Going forward, one thing I would want to see is that as a country, we should be self-sustaining. We should be able to build resilience to be able to deal with climate change challenges
and opportunities. And in this regard, I would want to see ourselves as a country looking at various options of climate financing so that we do not depend on multilaterals and international organizations who mainly focus on actually business. They only focus on mitigation programs. I would like to see a country where we are self-sustaining in terms of financing projects. And in this regard, I also want to thank the CS Finance and Planning for coming forward and coming up with legislation on carbon markets. Carbon markets have a major opportunity for counties to generate money for us to plow back into climate change resilient programs.
All right.
So we need to prepare for that.
Thank you.
The other area is also on green bonds. And I also want to thank the finance team. They have already put their policy on green bonds. We need also to build capacity on how to use green bonds to generate money. And in this regard, I would like to appeal to CS Finance that you should consider, as we go forward, how counties can access money directly from various funders so that we can be able to access money directly through green bonds.
Governor Sang, 1 minute. We've run out of time. Yes.
Just two things. One is that the entire budget across counties should be climate sensitive, climate change sensitive. To the extent that if you are, for example, we shouldn't be looking at our budgets in silos. If you are looking about agriculture, if you are talking about water, environment, and climate change, the entire budget across county, because this is climate change is a cross-cutting issue. We should be able to not only build the capacity of our department and our teams under climate change, but actually all across our counties, so that then our whole budgets can be climate sensitive as we plan, because then that brings the entire budget of a county or a country into that space of climate change.
Thank you. Governor Barchok, 1 minute.
Thank you. Mine, I would say money will never be enough. There will always be caps. But one thing that we would want to appreciate from what we've been able to realize from what we've been able to achieve so far, the issue of ownership is very important. If we want to sustain this program, it has to be owned by the communities.
All right.
And that is why we need to look at this in a holistic way, improving the livelihoods and so forth. With that, we'll be able to get a lot of support and sustain the program.
All right, thank you. Amisi, way forward. Just 1 minute.
Yes, Trevor, you see the youths here, these are the people that will be affected more by climate change in the near future. So I would want to see a policy that entrenches their involvement in matters climate change, right from the top to the bottom where they are.
Okay. Thank you very much. Roy?
Thank you. Mine would be to say that we should leverage on partnerships, especially to finance climate action, since financing is what is now needed to implement all the plans that have been put in place. And it's a good thing that all counties now have the policy and legal framework and also the strategic framework for climate action. So it is only financing, and we should leverage on partnerships to bridge the gap. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. A big round of applause for all my panelists up there. And then I call upon Peter Odengo to give us just the way forward in 1 minute. And then Selela stand by for a word of prayer as we finish. CS said you're single-handedly running this Flocker program, so we'd like to hear from you. Closing remarks, really briefly. Just 1 minute, let's.
Yes, it has been brought back. One, do not ask Peter Odengo or my CS or my PS or any governor what Flocker can do for you. Do it, because the police is there. He has given the money. You have been trained. You, the youth,